Hey, what's going on, guys? Hopefully y'all are having a great day. I wanted to get a couple of quicker videos up to make up for some of the ones that I had missed in the past. So here's the first video, and it is about the quickest way to destroy your work. That's what we're going to talk about today on Help Me Preach. Alright, the quickest way to destroy your work is women. I know that may sound kind of crazy, but it really is. When you look at how preachers have stumbled in the past and you look at all the problems that come for preachers in those ways, you may be even thinking, Paul not getting married was probably a good idea. But when you think about the preacher, this damage can happen in multiple ways. So the first way is, as a single man, you're dating, who you date, all those kind of things, your relationships, those can be a huge problem. And so you may be dating the wrong person. You may be not handling yourself rightly in dating. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, that I've done that right. When you look at that concept, as a single preacher, who you're dating, just realize this is a very important part of your work if you're a single guy in a congregation, because it's easy to be consumed with wanting to be married and then constantly like trying to find that perfect woman and all that kind of thing. And so just be super careful with how you handle dating as a single guy in a congregation. Now, the next thing I would say is who you marry. And so there are many preachers that could have done good work and all that kind of thing, but yet it was who they married and their relationship together and how she viewed the work and all that kind of thing that really just made it to where it didn't work for that preacher. And it actually may have actually hurt them and damaged that relationship. And so when you look at that concept, you have to be very careful that you need to be up front with whoever you're dating, whoever you're talking to, and just tell them, hey, I want to preach and I want to have this particular role. And so as a preacher's wife, there's expectations. There's things that you control, there's things that you can't control, and you can complain about that all the time, but that's just how it is. And so you need to be very careful about who you marry. And see if she's a person that will support you in your work and that she can do the responsibilities that a preacher's wife has. Now, the third way, and perhaps the most dangerous way, is affairs or immorality in some way. So, assuming that you've handled yourself fine with the dating process, and assuming that you married the right woman, just realize this process does not go away of difficulty with women, and it's still just as dangerous. In fact, this is one of the times where men really can make a huge mess of things. And so let me give you just a few practical tips regarding that I think are important. So number one is that you need to have some very structured boundaries. I've heard some really good advice about this, that you shouldn't be alone with a woman unless she's your grandma or she's in a casket, or unless you're related to her. And it may seem like that is a little drastic, but I'm telling you, in our culture, all you have to have is an accusation, and it's her word against yours, and it will absolutely destroy your reputation. More than that, so many times this innocent interaction became something that was not innocent. Let me give you just an example. So you may go through and be counseling a woman that's going through problems on her marriage. And you may say, oh, okay, this is really hard. She doesn't need other people, all this kind of thing. Well, what ends up happening is that this woman may look at you as the type of husband that she wants, that you're everything that her husband is not. And so then she starts getting attached to you and has a relationship with you. And that's where a lot of people have fallen, is actually through this private counseling. And so how do you get around that? Well, one thing is if you're married, take your wife with you. And so if she's unwilling to meet with you and your wife, then guess what? She can go talk to somebody else. It's not that you're not the only one who can deal with this problem. Now, if you're a single guy, you may be saying, "Hey, what do I do?" Well, you might ask one of the older ladies in the congregation if needed, uh, or you may just tell her, "Hey, can you help her? Can you help her with this situation?" Or probably a better thing is you need to get your elders involved, or some of the older men that are respectable, and you both sit down and talk with her. Uh, You just have to be super, super careful. And you might even, depending on the content of the conversation, you might even do it in a public way, out at a restaurant or something like that. You can try to get some places that are pretty private, and you can talk through a lot of those types of things. So those are three areas that I think really can mess up men with women. Now, a fourth one that we really can't underestimate anymore in our culture, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect in this area either, but we have to be very careful, is with the area of pornography. Pornography is just everywhere in our culture, and it is an issue that men just struggle with in general, and preachers are not exempt from this. And so you have to have a structure to work around and protect those types of things. Having a healthy marriage is good for that, but it's still challenging. And so, again, this is just one of those areas that it will absolutely destroy your work. And so this week I've been reading through Proverbs, just with the Bible reading that I've been doing, and it's been talking so much about immorality in 5, 6, and 7 of Proverbs. And so if you need some encouragement on how you need to change those types of things and to do better, those are some places. But I'm telling you, you need to be so restrictive and so controlled on this that it almost seems unnecessary and absurd. And so I'll give you an example just for me, is that I don't even like having the wives of some of my friends' numbers. And I don't even like messaging a woman directly. I would like to have my wife in that conversation, or I want to have her husband in the conversation, something along those lines. Because the whole thing is, you just want to play with your hands open. And so that helps to prevent accusation. It prevents any confusion in the relationship. It just makes it so much better. And so those barriers of not meeting with women alone, not having these conversations and all that with women by yourself, they're just super good. And I think it all really builds out of an important element, is that you do not trust yourself. Too many times pride comes before a fall. We understand that. And when you think about this concept with women, I mean, it's been said that you have to be more righteous than David, stronger than Samson, and more wise than Solomon to not have problems with women. And so you just have to understand that this is just the nature of the relationship that men have and our relationships with women. And so have to be super, super careful about it. And so that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Hopefully that was helpful. If you agree with this, put down your comments, suggestions, and that kind of thing. If you like this video, hit like. If you haven't already, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And so if we can help you in any way with any of these issues, be glad to. And not, again, talking about this from not having struggles and making mistakes and all that kind of thing, but it is something that we have to be very careful about. And so hopefully that was helpful, and we'll catch up with you later. Have a good one.